guys, welcome back. I have a new episode today and we are going to be discussing goals. I know it sounds super elementary, but here is a problem that I see with people making goals, and I did the same thing for a very long time. And I hear it and I don't know if it's something that we don't necessarily realize. The way that we are goal setting is wrong. It's basically setting ourselves up to fail before we even set out to achieve our goals. And the reason being is there's two different types of goals. Well, there's probably a million different types of goals, but I'm going to discuss two different types of goals and how we can transition from one to the other to more effectively reach our goals. So first of all, when we make goals for ourselves, 99% of the time, they are what we call outcome-based. These are goals that focus on some sort of outcome, some sort of end goal that we wish to get at the end of the process. These are things like, I want to lose 10 pounds. I want to be 15% body fat. I want to be able to squat my body weight. Whatever it is, these are outcome-based goals that we want to be able to accomplish somewhere at the end of whatever this is. And these are great. But these outcome-based goals aren't enough. Wanting is not enough. I remember growing up, a lot of the times as kids, I would go to my dad and I remember being like, I really want this, or I want that, or I want blah, and he'd just sit there and be, well, yeah, how does it feel to want? It drove me freaking nuts, but it's true. Wanting and wishing and waiting, or whatever all the other things, they're not gonna get you what you want, right? They're not doing anything. Trust me, I've waited and procrastinated more often than I would like to admit in my life. And 100% of the time, the thing that I want doesn't just magically appear in my lap. It doesn't happen. The problem with these outcome-based goals is that we cannot control them. We can't control environmental things and we can't control physical things that may arise. So by saying I want to lose 20 pounds or I want to, eat healthy and lose 20 pounds, we can't necessarily control that, maybe workload has increased at work, or you have to stay late, or you have a lunch meeting and they cater in food, or you were gonna go work out at night, but your kid got sick. Maybe severe weather is keeping you from getting to the gym, from getting to the grocery store. Maybe the gym is temporarily closed for repairs. You can't control any of those things. Along the same lines as the environmental conditions, you can't always control your physical conditions. You can't control if you get sick. You can't control if you have some sort of injury. You can't control the fact that you're getting older. You can't control a hormone imbalance. You can't always control the quality of sleep you'll get because maybe, Junior curls in bed, or, Tommy's throwing up at night, or whatever it is. So by just blanketly saying I want to do these things, you can see all of these issues, all of these environmental, physical, all of these inevitable conditions that are going to come up and prevent you from reaching your outcome-based goal. I see this all the time, and I like to call them excuses. There are reasons, but they're still excuses. So these outcome-based goals are almost always centered around some sort of a number. Like I said, you want to lose 10 pounds, you want to be 15% body fat, whatever it is. But you can't always control how your body's going to respond. So even though you have a goal of losing 10 pounds, your mind might think, okay, if I lose a pound a week, yeah, that'll give me 10 weeks. Okay, that's good, because I have a family reunion in 10 weeks, and that'll be perfect. That'll be perfect. But your body isn't always going to respond the way that your mind believes that it's going to respond. And you have to understand that before you even set out to accomplish these goals. You have to understand right freaking now that progress is not linear. There are going to be times where you step on that scale, or you take that measurement, or you go up for some sort of a PR and you don't get it. You don't hit those numbers that you have made up in your mind. What happens then? Now you just set yourself up for frustration. Now you're angry. Now you're upset. Now you have a negative way of thinking because you're never going to reach your goals because you've tried everything. So this negative way of thinking just starts snowballing. And so now all of your goals are negative based. They're negative thinking. You're never going to have these things. It's not working. I can't do it. You give up. You put off actually going for your goals. You don't even look for changes because it's just not working. So right now you need to understand, if your goal is fat loss and weight loss, even building muscle, even building strength, progress is not going to be linear. As much as we think it's going to be, it's not going to happen. You are going to have weeks where you regress. You're going to have weeks where you stall. Your body is your body. Everybody progresses at a different pace. And so you have to be prepared for that as you move forward. So instead of getting on the scale and realizing you haven't lost anything, or maybe you've gained something, could be water weight, whatever, different video. All of a sudden, all of these negative thoughts come in and nothing's working and you hate yourself. We've got to change our thinking. We've got to change the way that we goal set. And instead of focusing on what you don't have, what you think you're never going to get, you've got to focus on something that you can control. You've got to focus on something that you and only you can control. Not Tom, Jeff, Nancy, and all the children and all the bosses and the traffic and the weather and the gym beat, none of those. Something that only you are in control of. And that is where we get behavioral-based goals. So outcome-based goals are amazing to have. I think those are great, but there needs to be something in between the long-term outcome end goal that we're looking for with these outcome-based goals. There's got to be something in here, and that's where behavioral-based goals come into play. And I think so many of us don't set behavioral-based goals because we just think of the I want, I wish, I'm waiting, I'm whatever. And that's okay. Again, it's fine to set outcome-based goals, but you also need to make sure that you're setting behavioral-based goals. These behavioral-based goals are something that you and only you have control of. They are commitments to do the actions that it takes to get to that outcome-based goal. Every single day, consistently, over time, build the habits to get you to those outcome-based goals. So let's say you have an outcome-based goal of I want to lose 10 pounds. Great. Hold on to that. Now let's break it down into the behavioral-based goals. You want to lose 10 pounds. Okay, so how? I like to think of it as how are you going to lose 10 pounds? That's awesome. I have clients all the time. I want to lose 10 pounds. Okay. How are we going to do it? I'm going to eat healthy. Nope, not enough. I am going to meal prep every single day. I know that I have lunch catered in at work and I don't have control over that. So I'm going to control and I'm going to prep my lunches. I'm going to take it into work. I know that I sometimes have to stay late at work every single night. I don't have control over that. So I'm gonna get my workout in first thing in the morning. I'm gonna do that. I can control that. My goal is I wanna be able to squat my body weight. That's awesome, that's great. How are you gonna do that? You're gonna get in the gym and you're gonna practice deadlifting 3 times a week. That's how you're gonna build up your strength every single week. Let's say it's something as I need to get better sleep to reach my goals. Okay, how? How are you going to do that? I'm gonna put the kids to bed at X time, and then I'm gonna shut off my phone for 30 minutes before I fall asleep. And that's gonna be my unwinding time. No TV, no phone, I'm gonna read and I'm gonna allow myself to de-stress and go to bed. Maybe you don't even have kids. Start your bedtime routine earlier. Turn off your damn phone, turn off the TV, doesn't matter, email can wait, you're shutting down for the night. Those are behavioral-based goals. You have control over those actions. These behavioral-based goals need to be measurable somehow. Just saying I wanna lose 10 pounds, okay, great, you step on the scale, okay, I didn't lose 10 pounds. Okay, technically, yeah, you're measuring it, you're on a scale, big fucking deal. Excuse me, can you cuss on YouTube? Somehow you need to be able to measure, are you doing these things? So if your end goal, again, I'm using the 10 pounds, I wanna lose 10 pounds. I'm gonna meal prep for this week. Awesome, you can measure that, you can see that. Did you meal prep this entire week? Did you take your meals with you to work? Yes or no? You can do it weekly, you can do it daily. Any of these behavioral-based goals are all based on things that you can control. Yeah, somebody's gonna be watching this and say, yeah, well, I just didn't have time. No, you control. You make time for the things that are important to you. I guarantee it, if it's important to you, you'll make time for it. Promise. 100% of the time, that's how it works. That's an excuse. You don't have time, set your alarm a little bit earlier. You're not getting enough sleep. Oh, weird. Turn off your phone, get in bed a little bit earlier. You can do this. You can make small changes in your routine. You can set these behavioral goals that'll get you to your long-term outcome goal. If you've been following me for a while, you know that I love the equation time plus consistency equals results. And every single time, it never fails. If you're being consistent, if you're being diligent, if you're being 100% invested in your actions are mimicking the results that you want to see, you will achieve results. It might not be in that time frame that your mind believes it's going to happen, but it's going to happen eventually over time with consistency. If you're making these behaviors into habits, you will reach that outcome-based goal. I promise you, it never fails. And I guarantee you, you will learn something about yourself in the process. And realize too that wherever you start is not always gonna be where you end up. So by measuring your progress every single week, by focusing on these little behavioral tasks that you can do every single week, measure your progress and then celebrate it. Even if it's 1/4 pound, you're making progress. Keep going. It's not working. So many people are like, well, it's not working. It's like, have you lost any weight? I lost half a pound. That is progress. Just because it's not following the timeline that you have made up in your brain for whatever expectation, whatever you saw, doesn't mean that it's not progress. Measure that. Keep going. And then you have a basis to make changes when it's time to make changes. If you have been trying something and you've been consistent, you've been 100% diligent, and you're not seeing changes, well, maybe it's time to implement something else. But then this way, you are in control of your behaviors. So if you are not seeing results, you know that you need to change up your behaviors. But if you're all over the place and you're doing these things and you're half consistent and sometimes, all right, well, it's not working. Okay, I think I'm just gonna go treat myself to Dairy Queen. Whatever it is, you're never gonna know what's working and what's not. So stay consistent, set those behavioral goals. You have to practice them every single day. You have to make a commitment to perform these actions every single day consistently, and over time they will become habit. Only pick about 3 of them to start, 3 behavioral-based goals. And as soon as they become habit, move them aside and add new behavioral goals. A really common issue is people try to overhaul and do everything at once, and then they try and they get overwhelmed, and it's so much work for them to do that they quit in a week or 2. Well, a week or 2, your body hasn't even had time to adapt. It hasn't even had time to be like, okay, what's going on? I don't know. You might not even see the potential of what you're doing for several weeks, for even a couple months, depending on how much you have to lose or where you're at. I mean, everybody's different. But by breaking down your outcome-based goals into behavioral goals, you set a measurable way to track your progress. And you learn a lot too. Okay, well, that doesn't work for me. Just because it works for somebody else doesn't mean it's gonna work for you either. So keep that in mind. But remember, behavioral-based goals are based on something that you and only you can control. You don't leave the door open for Tom, Sue, and Nancy to be the reason you're not reaching your behavioral goals. These are things that only you can control, no matter what. It arms you against the inevitableness of life. Because as we've talked about before, life ain't slowing down. There's not gonna be a perfect time. We don't exist in a vacuum. So you're gonna have to learn how to adapt to your surroundings. And that is by creating behavior-based goals, things that you can control despite whatever goes on around you. So try doing that. Try taking your outcome goal and breaking it down into 3 behavioral-based goals that you can start doing today. I promise you, it'll change the way you think. It'll change the way you start acting in accordance with your outcome goals, your long-term goals, the end results. Because I've said this to a lot of my clients, a lot of my friends, this lifestyle is a journey. So if you're sitting around anxious for the future, anxious for reaching that outcome goal, you're gonna be waiting around for a long time. You're living in the future. You ain't living right now. What can you do right now? Strap in and enjoy the ride, because this is life, guys. Hope this was helpful for you, and this got you guys to think a little bit more deeper into how to change some of your behaviors, some of your habits, so that they work in accordance with your long-term goals for yourself. Give this video a thumbs up, comment if this was helpful, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks, bye.